GasCast! Back again. Ricky, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Got my stress ball. Just got back to town. Just ate a cookie. I'm chilling, man. How are you?
That's good, dude. That's good. I'm doing all right, man. I'm just kind of doing my thing. Just like you did. I just got back into town a few hours ago. Been swamped with homework. Swamped. But I'm managing. I'm doing all right.
What kind of homework, dude?
So we've got Spanish going right now, and Spanish. I don't know if you've taken Spanish in college, but there's a thing called VHL Central.
Yeah, Portales, dude.
And it is the worst, dude. We have to do 25 homework assignments a week, and of course I wait to the last minute, dude, and it takes a while when you last the last minute.
Yeah, dude, are you in Spanish 1?
Spanish 2 now. Spanish 1 was a breeze. Spanish 2 is like another level, dude.
Yeah, it's a little more challenging, and you have to go through the well, now you can skip through the vocab tutorials, dude, which is nice. You can yeah. In Spanish 1 they make you do them, but now you can like just let it play. That's a nice. I don't know, dude. VHL sucks, but at least it's all on Quizlet.
That's true. I didn't even know that, but
is the class online or no?
It's in class, but they do the Vista VHL Central.
Where are you doing it at? Are you doing it at Pitt or at ECU?
At Pitt. By the way, big news for the GasCast. Just got accepted at ECU yesterday.
Let's go.
So CJ Powell is going to be a Pirate starting in August.
Big siege, dude. Let's go, dude. I did Spanish 2 at Pitt, dude. Elementary Spanish 2.
Oh.
I did online over the summer, dude.
Dude, I'll be honest, dude. Spanish 2 is like, I thought I was a Spanish god. Spanish 2, it humbles you, dude, because they bump it up. Like, let me tell you.
Oh, it's a lot harder than 1, dude. They start adding tenses. They start adding like preterite tense and shit.
Oh yeah, present participles are in right now. It's a challenge for sure.
No doubt.
But anyway, people aren't here to listen about our Spanish bullshit.
We don't want any elementary Spanish 2 commentary.
Yeah, we've already
cast us in Spanish, dude.
We've probably already lost 3% of our viewers right there.
Oh yeah,
but anyway. All right. Well, hey, I mean, I guess should we touch on the Super Bowl a little bit? I mean, give our takes.
Yep. Well, I mean, just to like give a little overview, Super Bowl, NBA trade deadline. Just let people know what they're going to hear in this episode. You know.
Yep.
Got some big trades that went down.
Big trades.
Yep. And
some NFL stories.
Super Bowl was a good game, so there's a good bit to talk about there.
Really fun game.
If we got time, we got the XFL too to talk about. That just went on this weekend.
I'm gonna actually, you know what? I want to jump into the XFL right now while it's on my mind.
I'm down, dude.
Just a quick. This is bothering me a lot, and I don't know if this is gonna bother you, but the logos are so bad, dude.
Dude, the logos and the jerseys are horrible. The fact that they had, like entire groups of people in charge of that and they fucked up that bad is crazy to me, honestly. Because the jerseys are inexcusably bad, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't think it was a big deal, but it looks unprofessional, dude. It looks like arena football. Like the Vipers logo, that is the worst logo. That's something I could conjure up, like. You look up Google Vipers, like before the XFL was released, that would be a logo.
It looks like they just did Google Images and then like just went in and changed the colors on Adobe Photoshop, and that was just it.
And what about the names, dude? The names are ass.
I mean, they're weird, but at least they stand out. Like I can remember them shits for the most part. I mean, there's only 8 teams. Like the names aren't as bad compared to the jerseys. They're not great, but at the same time, like it's hard. I feel like the NFL has 32 normal names. So how are you going to come up with, like, what are some ones that the NFL doesn't have right now?
That's true. That's true.
Got basically everything.
I like the yeah, I don't know. The NFL's got some unique ones, like the 49ers. Like, even though that's semi-normal, it's still got some uniqueness, like the Steelers, the Browns, the Redskins. Those are kind of cool names. Those aren't run-of-the-mill names.
Yeah, XFL, the Lions, the Panthers, the Jaguars, the Bengals, all are what's it called? Like big cat teams, dude.
That is true. I mean, there are some bad ones for sure, but The only one I'll say about the XFL though, the Battlehawks. Love that. Big fan
Yeah,
of the Battlehawks.
that's Jack's team, dude. The Battlehawks. They got the dub today. I don't
Oh,
know. I
okay.
actually thought I thought the games were like, again, I only watched the highlights, but I love the new rules, and like the kickoff rule is awesome. The extra point rule is awesome because it makes extra points not boring. And I don't know. I think and the games are quicker. It's not like the NFL that it takes so fucking long. The Super Bowl felt like it was like 2 days long, dude. I don't know how you feel about the
Yeah,
XFL.
no, it's I like it. I like that the NFL is kind of treating it like a player development league. Like they're not there's no way the XFL is going to, take any viewership away from the NFL. But if the XFL can be kind of like a I don't know, like a D league, that'd be cool. Like maybe guys that weren't drafted and didn't get picked up, and they're just kind of, but people know their names or something, or maybe they got injured and kind of fell off, and then the XFL all of a sudden they're blossoming, get signed by an NFL team. That is where I think the XFL could see some viewership.
Well, I'm hoping school players just go straight there, dude. To be honest, if the XFL can really establish itself, I think that'd be kind of cool. If the NCAA started having to pony up a little bit, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I like that.
Get some
Yeah,
conflict going. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun.
that would be dope too. Kind of like the NBA with the Australian league, or like the
Yeah, exactly.
like LaMelo, he went to Australia to play instead of playing college ball.
And he might, if he goes number one, when has that happened? Has a number one pick recently been like not just from the NCAA?
Not number one pick that I can recall. I mean, obviously Doncic, but that's kind of like I don't consider European players that same thing because
Yeah,
LaMelo directly avoided the NCAA to go to Australia.
Luka wasn't gonna just play in the NCAA, dude. He was on Real Madrid when he was like already when he was college age.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm excited for the XFL. I mean, I haven't. I think we mentioned before the GasCast, neither of us have watched any games yet, but I might tune into the next game that they're playing. Just check out how it's going. But I've heard some positive things. I've heard some people are liking it.
Yeah, man. Next week I'll hopefully be able to actually tune in because, like you said, the hopefully the second week, maybe will be better like quality games. Not that they were bad this week, but the AAF like had week one and then the gameplay kind of sucked and people were like, oh, but maybe it'll be better next week. And just nobody watched it in week two and the week just started fucking crumbling. And then mid-season it was done. So let's hope they're not like the AAF. I think the XFL will at least get through the season.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. But we'll see what happens. I mean, it's tough for any kind of league that I wouldn't say competes, but they try to be a professional league when you've already got professional leagues that are established for the last 100 years. But competition's always good. So I hope for the XFL's sake they can turn some viewership and at least be semi-successful where they're not just going to crumble within a year or two.
I think it's a cool idea because it's not like fundamentally different from NFL football. It's worse players, but I mean you're still watching quality players, and they're actually like they don't seem like just a group of guys. They seem like actual football teams. Like when you watch it, like they seem just more cohesive than the AAF was, and that makes for better quality gameplay. And the guys seem to actually like care.
For sure, yeah. I did see a funny thing on Twitter though, where apparently they're interviewing, I guess players after fuck ups or something like that. So a kicker, a kicker misses a field goal. They interview him directly after, and he says, "I was trying to do too much." Like what does that even mean, dude?
And I think they interviewed a guy who had like just fumbled, and he started like cursing, dude.
Dude, that is great, dude. Like,
I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Obviously, that's not plausible for like the NFL or NBA, but I love it for the XFL. I mean, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, they've even been like showing on the broadcast. They've been showing like the plays that the offensive coordinator is calling. It's pretty crazy, honestly.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but But I mean, I don't know. Do you have anything else on XFL talk? I mean, I think that's probably good.
Yeah, I'm good on that. I mean, overall, ugly jerseys, but excited to see where it goes.
Exactly. That's the big takeaway. So,
Yeah.
all right. So Super Bowl. What's your takeaway from the Super Bowl?
I mean, let's start. I believe we were both right. You picked the Chiefs too, right? Didn't you get the score pretty close?
I predicted 31-14 Chiefs. I was pretty close.
31-20. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I remember 2 Robbie Gould field goals were the difference.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the game, kind of a remarkable feat. Honestly, the Chiefs were down more than 10 points in every game in the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. That's like insane to me, dude. And that's never been done before. But that's my main takeaway. We were both right. The better quarterback won. Garoppolo got a little bit exposed. I know you were having your doubts during that game, dude. Just I guess talk more about that, dude. Your initial reactions.
Yeah. So Ricky, you can vouch for this. I had some objectivity in that game because I initially texted you before the game and said Jimmy G is horrible. And middle of the game, you can vouch for this. I texted you and said, "Hey, Jimmy G's looking good right now." I said Jimmy G's looking pretty good right now, and I guess you can say that the prince turned back into the frog by the end of the game because Jimmy G. I mean, I don't blame Jimmy G because I never thought he was good anyway. But all of a sudden, fourth quarter comes around and you see him throwing behind receivers, missing wide open receivers. I mean, it was just a shit show by the end of the game. But
It was a game of two halves. Like Garoppolo looked really good and really efficient in the first half, and that was when we were saying he's been pretty impressive. And we were even saying Mahomes was choking like that. If that game had kept going the way it was, Mahomes was gonna be bad, dude. Like we were both saying like Brett Favre-esque regular season quarterback, like all that, the whole thing about Mahomes being a choker. But nope, he came back, dude.
yeah, and and I think I was texting you about this too. It's not like Mahomes. Oh, it's just a bad game. If the game would have continued, that would have been the worst game of Mahomes' career.
Yeah, like he could not hit a slant. Like, and his form looked totally fucked. Like he just looked scared. The Niners defense does that, dude.
He looked terrible. But I mean, like you said, I mean, he ended up pulling it out. Kudos to him. He should not have won MVP though. Damian Williams for sure, dude. I thought this was like, I mean, I guess you kind of knew they were going to give it to him just because, I mean, he's Patrick Mahomes, but
yeah.
Damian Williams to me was clear MVP of that game. Like I didn't even think it was close.
Former Dolphin Damian Williams.
Yeah, former Dolphin Damian Williams. I thought he was clear cut MVP of that game. What do you think about that?
I mean, he was phenomenal, dude. He had hella touchdowns. I was happy to see that. A former Adam Gase guy. Wasn't good enough for Gase, but is good for Andy Reid and the Super Bowl. I agree that he should have won MVP, but he's a running back, so that we both know that was just not going to happen.
Yeah, and not a superstar, I guess. He's just kind of like I don't know, what did you say, like a above average running back? I mean,
I don't know if I'd even go that far, dude. To me, he's kind of just like a jag, dude. Like as a running back, he's just another running back, but as a receiver, he's pretty dynamic.
Yeah, I'll give you that for sure. But yeah, I mean, it was so I mean, I don't want to spend too much on the Super Bowl, but yeah, I mean, takeaway, Jimmy G looked good, then he choked. Patrick Mahomes choked, then looked good. That was basically the game. And I was happy to see a good game for once.
Finally, dude. Last year's game wasn't good to me. I'm sure you liked it, because Brady won or whatever. But I was not a fan. Really boring. But this game, it went back and forth. There were enough points. I think the last 6 minutes was the most entertaining. Definitely when Mahomes hit that deep ball to Tyreek Hill. That was pretty sick.
I mean, because I mean, before he hit that, I was like, it felt like that game was over. But right when he made that catch, I was like, all of a sudden, it just felt like the entire momentum had shifted.
I agree, dude. That play, I was like, oh, the Chiefs got it. And the Chiefs were still down 10, I think, when that play was made. And right at that moment, I was like, oh, yeah, they're definitely going to win. They figured it out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But yeah, I mean, I was happy. I was happy to see a good game. Kudos to the Chiefs. And Andy Reid, I think another thing, I don't know if people are talking about it or not, but Andy Reid has kind of cemented himself as, what would you say, one of the better coaches in the last 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, he went to the Super Bowl and McNabb kind of failed him. And he's really had great success with like fairly average quarterbacks throughout his career. And then now he gets Mahomes and he goes to the Super Bowl pretty much immediately. So, and wins it. So, and when you have McNabb, another like pretty elite talent, but not on the level of Mahomes, he went to the Super Bowl. So I agree. The last 20 years, definitely.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
consistent.
yeah,
I was glad. That was my main storyline in that game was Andy Reid getting his ring. That was the only reason I was rooting for the Chiefs.
yeah. I was gonna root for the Chiefs going into the game, but even J-Lu, shout out to J-Lu. He texted me mid game or after the game, and I totally agree. For some reason, midway through the game, I shifted it, and I was like, I wanted the 49ers to win. I think it was because to save myself from hearing Pat Mahomes' greatest quarterback of all time comments for the next year and a half.
Right after the game, I texted you. I said, just to annoy you, dude. I said, "Is Mahomes the greatest quarterback of all time? Will he surpass Brady in rings?" But as far as briefly projecting, to the future, like I think the Chiefs have a chance at a ring, really anytime in the next decade, maybe longer, as long as they have Mahomes. But for the Niners, I don't know. I feel like that loss was huge. Shanahan chokes again in the Super Bowl. They're going to have to make some decisions on who they want to pay in the offseason. And Richard Sherman, that's kind of a one-year guy, I feel like. I mean, he's going to drop off fairly soon, right? And they don't have another real number one corner. They're going to have to address that. And I don't think the Niners picked till like the 4th round in this year's draft. So they might have some problems on the horizon. What do you think, dude?
I think there's only one solution. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this.
Well,
Skip
I know
Bayless.
Jimmy G could they can get out of his contract this year too.
Yes, with escape with only a $4 million hit on the cap if they cut him after this year. Ricky, I'd be surprised if you're going to go against me on this, but I'm going to tell you right now, if they cut Jimmy G and sign Tom Brady, I think that they're the Super Bowl favorites next year. Like I don't think it's close, but I think immediately going into next season, they're going to be the favorites to win it all. And think about Brady being jacked up to play for his hometown team, leaving Belichick, playing for a team that's got weapons. I mean, you see Deebo Samuel; he looked like a future superstar in that Super Bowl. I mean, second half
offense pretty much
basically. I mean, he didn't get involved that much in the second half, but first half, I mean, he's a physical guy. I mean, he's as physical a receiver I've seen in a while.
Deebo only got 3 carries in that game, and they were all in the first half. I'm pretty sure. Like once they stopped involving him in the game plan, especially like through carries, their offense kind of just stopped functioning.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was Shanahan's crucial mistake in the game. Honestly, was kind of just going away from Deebo. But I will say it's hard to blame him that much because if Garoppolo hits Emmanuel Sanders on that deep ball, it's a whole different game. Niners probably win. Like,
yeah,
if on that one crucial deep ball, Jimmy G missed. Sanders was open for a touchdown, and Jimmy G just straight missed him.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, but just imagine, dude. Just imagine that. It's Tom Brady, hometown team. He's got Emmanuel Sanders. He's got Deebo Samuel. He's got Kittle, one of the better offensive lines in the NFL. He's got one of the best run games in the NFL. That is Tom Brady. That's a Super Bowl winning team right there.
Now I'm interested. I'm pretty sure Mostert is a free agent. I don't think their running back will matter too much who it is. But Emmanuel Sanders is a free agent. He's pretty old. I believe both the D tackles, Buckner and Armstead, are both free agents. And then I think they'll have to pay Sherman too. So I don't know if you're the Niners, what direction are you going in? You probably can't pay both D tackles. You probably pay Buckner. What about Sherman, though? Do you draft a receiver? You don't pick till the 4th round. You definitely need another wide receiver if you want to, go back to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. I don't think you can go into the next season without signing or getting another one or re-signing Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll add some weapons, especially this is if we're talking about them bringing Brady in. I'm sure they'll add a few weapons and. I don't know. Richard Sherman, he was good this year. I mean, if you want to re-sign him, I'm sure you could get him for pretty cheap. But for the defensive tackles, I mean, I guess Buckner's more of the I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good word. He's more of like the more well-known guy. But I
Yeah,
saw a stat on Twitter. Armstead low key put up some really good numbers this year in the pass
he's
rush.
better in the Super Bowl than Buckner. Armstead had a
Yeah,
big game.
yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't hate. You could probably sign Armstead for a decent amount, and who knows what they want to do with Buckner. But assuming I guess they want to keep those front lines intact, probably. But I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like any of those free agents are. I mean, I guess Buckner and Armstead are the most, but even if you lost all of them and just replaced them with I guess equal to lower tier guys, and you bring in Brady, I still feel like that's a Super Bowl caliber team.
But are you paying Brady more than Garoppolo? Like because that's what they'd have to do. They'd have to cut him, take the $4 million hit, and then probably pay Brady $30 million.
I think you have to pay Brady 30 mil. I don't think he would come for less than that. Or I think it would at least take 27, 28.
Yeah, and if
This
you pay him like that, I mean, you're restricted with what you can do in the rest of free agency if you're re-signing some of these other guys. So it's definitely an interesting offseason for the Niners as far as like decisions they have to make. If I'm them, I'd just stick with Jimmy G. But I agree that if they did get Brady, they'd have a shot at the title next year for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. But some people are saying Brady to the Titans. I just don't think the
I think
Titans.
Brady back to England, dude.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I've flip flopped a few times, but I'm officially back there, dude. Once Kraft said he'd pay $30 million for Brady, I think he's coming back.
I think that the only thing I'm still saying Brady's going to leave, but the only thing that's kind of holding me back was Brady's Instagram post where he said Pat's family with Belichick and Gronk and Randy Moss. That kind of scared me a little bit.
What'd you think of the Hulu commercial, dude, where he said, "I'm not going anywhere"?
It seems like people have mixed things on that because I thought me and my dad were watching the Super Bowl together. We thought that just meant he wasn't retiring.
Yeah,
But the people on Twitter, basically, it seemed unanimously thought that means he was staying with the Patriots. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. The only thing that worries me though is not only did the Hulu commercial come out, but then that Patriots that Patriots love or whatever Patriots family post by Brady came out like an hour afterwards. So pair those together. I mean, good chance Brady probably goes back. Like I guess, but I still in my heart feel like he's leaving. I don't know. I think it's probably I want that to happen. I want to see Brady leave and just see what he can do with another team. And to be honest, I feel like Belichick really wants that to happen. I don't know if people have been paying attention. Belichick is not a Brady fan.
well, he wanted to keep Garoppolo, dude.
Yeah, that would have been a total mistake.
He wanted to keep Garoppolo and trade Brady, from what I understand.
That would have been such a bad mistake.
Kraft overruled it, dude.
Yeah, Kraft, dude. Hey, Kraft knows football better than Belichick.
Yeah, Andy Wiggins made a debut.
It's like no, but anyway, but yeah, I just don't about like what I was saying with the Titans. I just don't know if the Titans are a big enough franchise for Brady. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the name is big enough. Like, I feel like Brady would have to. I think the only way he would leave would have to be the 49ers. Like Brady to the Titans, like what you know what I mean? Brady moving to like what is it, Nashville? I mean that just seems weird. Like I just don't know if Brady at this age would be willing to move to Nashville to play a year or two of football.
I think it's more likely they tag Tannehill or something. Either way, I think Tannehill will start for him next year.
I think so too. I think so too for sure. And I don't think the Titans, by the way, just side note, I don't think they have any chance to do anything next year. Just my opinion.
I don't know if they'll. I think the division's bad enough that they could still get back to the playoffs because I think the Jags are going to be bad again. And who's in that division? AFC South?
Who knows?
Jags, Texans, Titans.
Texans, I mean.
And the Colts, dude. Yeah, so I think the Texans win, and I mean, I don't know. It depends on what the Colts do in the draft, dude. The NFL draft is pretty big this year for sure.
That's true. That's true. But anyway, so I guess that's probably enough for Super Bowl NFL. I've been waiting to get into these NBA trades.
Dude, I just saw a post about Andrew Wiggins' debut game, and
Yes.
I'm just gonna say, dude, I'm impressed. And I initially when that trade happened, do you want to break down what the trade was?
Yeah, basically it was basically I don't know the picks and little small, but from what the big names, basically D'Angelo Russell to the Timberwolves and Wiggins to Golden State.
It was basically Wiggins and picks for D'Lo. So
basically, yep.
It's looking like the Warriors might have won that trade. Just as far as looking towards next year, Wiggins has a horrible contract, but if you have Clay, Wiggins, Draymond, and Steph next year, that's probably a title team. So, and just saying, if Wiggins can learn to play in that system and just be a third or fourth option, I think he could just be like Harrison Barnes souped up. You know what I mean? But my main concern with that would be Steph Curry, to be honest, because I think he's getting old.
Whoa, dude!
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I think he's fragile. I know they're kind of saving him this year, but I don't know. I'm not sure if he can stand up to another season where he goes all the. Think about the toll that going to the finals takes on your body, dude. He's played more than most. He's already been in the league a while. He's already had a couple taxing ankle and knee injuries. And then on top of that, he's been to the finals quite a few times. So he's got a lot of miles on him, dude. I'm a little worried about it.
Personally, I think Steph's going to come back with a vengeance next year. I could see him averaging 30+.
I could see that, but I could also see him coming back with a vengeance, playing really well and just getting hurt and maybe being too hurt to play.
Now that I could possibly agree with. I mean, I don't think that he's going to look washed by any means, but as far as him maybe having another ankle knee injury, possibly.
Yeah, that's the direction I'm going, and I don't think he'd be worse because he's old, because his play style just doesn't really rely on that necessarily. But I think like if he's just physically unable to play, that wouldn't surprise me, because that was an issue he had at the beginning of his career. I don't think it's one that he ever fully like necessarily. I don't think that's something you can just conquer. I don't think that's something that just totally goes away. He had a healthy string, but I don't know. He was injury prone for a while, so we'll see. How old is Steph?
30, 31.
We're breaking 31. Down the trade, dude. We're breaking down the trade with Wiggins. What do you think of that? What do you think of that team, dude? Because you have some hesitation to say that'd be a finals team.
I think that the West is too stacked for this to say that's a finals team. Especially, I just don't. Now, if you want to make the argument Wiggins is now going to be reinvigorated to play team ball to win a ship and to prove that his contract's viable and that he was just on a bad team, that's an argument you could make. But me personally, I think Wiggins is a horrible fit for Golden State.
There's definitely a lot of like projecting. Like you can't like. It's hard to just take Wiggins as what he's been in Minnesota and just place him in the Warriors. You know, it's hard to imagine what that'll be like.
Yeah, he just.
Yes, I can't blame you for thinking it won't go well. To be honest,
it's just he's always been known as having lack of intensity, lack of the want. Lacking defensively. To be honest, he's had some lacking defensively problems throughout his career. I do understand why the Warriors would want to move D'Angelo Russell. Before the season, that was actually something that they thought was going to happen. I don't know who released it. I guess it was probably Woj or something.
Yeah, people were surprised that they went into the season with D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, so they knew it sounded like a pretty good chance he was going to get moved. But for Wiggins, I don't love that. I would have liked to see 2 utility pieces for D-Russ. See. I'm surprised there wasn't another team paying more than that. And honestly, I think there probably was. They just probably are higher on Andrew Wiggins as an organization than most people are. It's probably the deal. Yeah, like I said earlier, I guess they think that there's some kind of invigoration he's going to have now that he's with a winning team, and they can maybe mold his game. There's no doubt Andrew Wiggins has talent. It's just that I think it's been a concern by like scouts and like NBA analysts that he doesn't have the drive to do that. So maybe Golden State feels like if they get him in the building, that all of a sudden they can make him want to be that team ball player and work hard to be like the best player he can be. So that's a possibility.
I can see like how the fit is ideal, like how they can see it. I can see, Clay, if you have Clay and say like, I don't know, say Iggy could end up back there next year, but say you have Clay and you have Draymond, you have some decent defensive center that the Warriors seem to always have, and then you can kind of hide Wiggins behind 2 or 3 better defenders, and then on offense he's kind of just like Andrew Wiggins, or not Andrew Wiggins, like Harrison Barnes. Like I could see that working out, but at the same time, Wiggins isn't a great like stand and shoot guy. So, maybe I have trouble seeing the fit, but I don't know. I kind of trust the Warriors at this point.
I'll agree with you a little bit on that. You kind of have to trust the Warriors because they've just made so many good moves. I mean, in their ownership and their GM. I mean, they have one of the best GMs in the league, Bob Myers. So they're thinking something's going to happen. Now, whether it's going to work out or not, that can be debated. I don't think it's going to work out, and you think it could or would work out. So we'll see what happens. But as far as D'Angelo Russell, the Timberwolves, I'm going to get this. D. Russ, the Timberwolves, that's something that seemed inevitable, kind of. If I don't know if people remember this listening, or if you remember this, Ricky, but prior to the season, the Timberwolves were dying. They were fiending for D'Angelo Russell on the Timberwolves. They were trying everything, any package they could put together to get D'Angelo Russell on the Timberwolves. So I know they're ecstatic to get him on the team. I mean, and it's about time Cat got somebody who's a legitimate, consistent perimeter scorer for once. So I mean, I love the move for the Timberwolves. I think D'Angelo Russell is what I've seen, he's got tons of potential.
Yeah,
I mean, I love D'Angelo Russell.
And I mean, if they can get Devin Booker too, they'll have the millennial trio, dude. It'll be like the big three, but for like people who are 12 right now, instead of like big three with LeBron when I was 12. It'll be like a redo. But
yeah.
But see, I'm not the biggest fan of Cat. I'll be honest. As far as he's a great offensive player, but I gotta say, and he can hit the three, which makes him really valuable, especially as a big man. But he cannot play any defense, dude. Horrible at defense. Frankly, doesn't even look motivated to play any defense. D'Lo is a pretty decent defender, great scorer. I do like the pairing, but I just don't see them being like better than the 5th seed in the West, even long term, like next year.
Yeah, no, I don't think that they're gonna. This is a process. I think that this is definitely a move where you're going to see them try to go for another guy, like you mentioned, Devin Booker. This is not a in goal move. I don't think they think D'Angelo Russell and Cat are going to be the duo going forward. But I could see them one of two things. I think that they're either going to try to sign some utility guys.
They have Covington, dude, currently.
Covington?
He got, yeah.
Well, yeah, Covington went to the Rockets.
Oh, dude, he's not there anymore?
Yeah, so he got moved to the Rockets. So it was a 3-team trade. Some things moved.
Wow.
So I was going to get to that. That was part of the Capella trade.
Forgot about Clint Capella. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hype about that one for the Hawks. They needed a big man bad.
You're talking about the Timberwolves, right? They're signing utility players or.
Yeah, the Timberwolves. Yeah, I think that this is not an in-goal move. So I think that they're either going to try to sign some utility guys this offseason, try to fill out their bench, and maybe add a few more, few more guys that can make a little bit, some 3-and-D guys, or they're going to try to swindle something where they sign a big third guy in the offseason, like it maybe a Giannis. I don't think he would. There's no chance he would go to the Timberwolves, but try to sign a third guy.
Pretty sure DeMar DeRozan is a free agent.
Or I mean that wouldn't. His lack of shooting is so.
I wouldn't like the signing just because I'm not a fan of DeMar DeRozan, but I could see that happening. just because he'll probably be one of the top end names in free agency.
I could see it for sure, but I think that they're going to move on from Cat probably. That's my guess.
Really?
And I think that you're going to see. I would actually be surprised if they didn't move on from Cat.
So
I think that they're going to.
like up for like, is he on an expiring deal this year?
I don't think he is. He's just been in a lot of trade talks, and it just seems like it's a thing where they're trying to move into a new direction. I mean, they haven't had the most talent, but it's time to move on. It's time to change some things up. I think you could see a Cat trade for another perimeter guy, and they try to go with the more current day small ball lineup. I think that's another option. But
Cat
as far
is
as
on max contract, 5-year, $160 million.
is he on? You said he's on what?
He's on the max, 5-year, $160 million.
Okay, max. So, but I like I said, I don't think this is an end goal move. I think D'Angelo Russell and Cat, with who they have now, not going to be the same team next year. Something's going to happen. Either Cat's moved, or they're going to bring in some utility guys, or try to sign a big time free agent. But love D'Angelo Russell, the Timberwolves. They finally got a bona fide perimeter scorer who's consistent, unlike Andrew Wiggins, who's probably one of the more inconsistent perimeter scorers in the league. I think it's
Wiggins is perplexing, dude. He loves that mid-range jumper, but that's like his worst shot. Like, he's just not good at it.
yeah.
I don't know why he just keeps doing it. He just settles for shots, dude. But there's something to be said for the fact that he's been the number one perimeter option in Minnesota for years. So he's just kind of been settling for shots because he's been mainly the only guy who could create his own shot. So I don't know, maybe his role changing and the fact that people really need to worry about Clay and Steph standing around will like open up the court for his play style. Who knows, dude?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with it, but I really want. So I got to get into this now.
Yeah.
Andre Drummond to the Cavs. I got to hear your opinion on this.
Most pointless trade, dude. Like, what are they doing? Like, well, I mean, I think the Pistons are just trying to get the number one pick. To be honest, I don't know if they'll trade Blake, but it seems like they're just kind of destroying the season. The Cavs, on the other hand, seem to be tooling up for a run. Like, I don't know. They're going all in for the 8th seed. Like, what is this, dude? We got Kevin Love, Colin Sexton, and Andre Drummond. It's just a
Garland.
team and Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. There you go.
Yeah.
I think Sexton sucks, dude. I thought he sucked in college. I didn't think he was even worth where he went in the draft, and he has not looked good in the NBA. So
I like him. I actually like him. I think he's going to be pretty good.
I just think he's got so many bad habits, dude. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't assume that people are going to get better about that. Yeah. But he is shooting well this year. 37%.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say I've actually seen some really good things from Sexton this year. He played the Celtics a few times, and I was really impressed. He's probably one of the more athletic guards in the league. I mean, he's just, and you were talking about defense. He's a dog, dude. He plays hard. I mean, he plays really, really hard. So now they're not going to go on any run. Don't get me mistaken here. But I mean, I don't know, dude. I like the future for the Cavs as far as just having some young perimeter guys, but this Andre Drummond trade, like you said, pointless trade, weird trade. They didn't give up anything, really, to be honest. The Cavs didn't. But it just, both sides, weird trade.
The thing is, Drummond has a crazy contract. So the fact that they could trade him in the first place was like surprising. Like, they were taking whatever they could get for him because he's not worth his contract at all, which is what makes it so weird that the Cavs wanted him, because they have Sexton and Garland, who both are going to need contracts. Kevin Love makes a lot of money. Like, what's their long-term move here? You know what I mean? Is the main question.
Well, actually, Drummond's on a expiring deal this year.
So that's what it is, dude.
So, but even then, that makes it worse. You know what I mean? Like, you gave these, and they really didn't give much up. It just seems like a weird move, like just a strange move across the board. Like, if you're the Pistons, try to trade for somebody, some more valuable assets, or just let them walk. Like this just seemed like a weird move on
Well,
both sides.
Pistons didn't. I think the Pistons are trying to lose games, and you know what I mean. I think they're trying to lose games, and he's also not worth much, so they just took what they could get. It seems like.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's been some reports that Drummond's kind of lost interest in playing for the Pistons, which is understandable. They're probably one of the worst franchises in the league. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, who wants to play in Detroit?
I'd say the Cavs are with them, dude. They're also
Cavs are up there. I mean, they're definitely up there. But I guess it's just the market. I mean, who wants to play in Detroit? I mean, no, literally, I don't think one player in the NBA wants to play for Detroit. So it's tough, but I don't know. It's just a weird move on both sides. This will be interesting to see what happens with Drummond for the rest of the season. And free Blake, dude. Free Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
Buy him out or something, dude, because he is too good. He is a really good basketball player right now. From when he was with the Clippers to now, he is a really, really good basketball player.
He grew with the game, which was what I like about him, dude. Like he just like learned to shoot the three. He's always been a decent passer, but he really made that like a highlighted part of his game now. And he's still hella athletic. So yeah, I'm a fan, dude. I'm also a fan.
Yeah, he's big time underrated. I mean, he's a beast, dude.
I just want him to like go to like a championship team, dude, or like go to a team where he can be like the number 2 to like a guard and just like dominate. I don't know, dude. But I just feel like being on the Pistons is poverty, dude. So free Blake. And
I feel like Blake Griffin to the Rockets would make a lot of sense.
It just sucks that he got traded there, right? Didn't he get traded to the Pistons?
Yeah, he got traded to the Pistons for, if I'm remembering this right, basically nothing. I could be wrong about that, but I mean it's been what 3-4 years, so it's been a while. I do remember that it was a funny story. Like they to sign Blake Griffin in the offseason, they did this pitch where they had his jersey up in the rafters, and they're like, "This is gonna be you one day, Blake. Just re-sign with us." And then, like 1 month after re-signing him, they traded him to the Pistons. It was like this funny thing they were talking about.
That's what I'm saying. Like poor Blake, it wasn't his choice, dude, to end up there now. But dude, listen, it was Blake Griffin, Willie Reed, and Bryce Johnson for Avery Bradley, Tobias Harris, Boban, a protected first, and a future second.
Yeah, so I guess that's an okay trade. I guess. I mean, it's better than what we're seeing right now. I mean, like this Drummond trade. I mean, comparatively, I mean, I would say Blake's a lot better than Drummond, but still, it's not the worst trade I've ever heard. But I don't know. I mean, it's still free Blake. Please get him out of there. Let him run free. Let him play for a real team for once. It's been 7 or 8 years.
Tobias Harris has really been around, dude.
I've got question marks. I've got some questions about Tobias Harris.
He had sucked for the Sixers recently. I mean, the Sixers suck overall, but
he just doesn't fit their team. Like he doesn't. He's a shot creator. He just doesn't fit what they're trying to do, dude. Like I think Simmons needs to go. Me personally, Simmons needs to just go to his own team and to just build around Simmons. But him, like the Sixers have just filled out a weird team.
Him and Embiid not work, dude. The process does not seem to have worked.
Yeah, I mean, like I like Josh Richardson on the 76ers. That works. Embiid's fine. Horford's fine. Simmons and Harris, those two kind of weird. I loved Jimmy Butler on the Sixers. I think he gave them a closer. They still don't have a closer. It was weird.
They went all. I agree with that. That losing Jimmy was bigger than that Sixers and Sixers fans thought it was going to be. But my thing is they went all in on this team, dude. Like they paid Horford near a max. They extended Harris to the max. They gave Simmons the max, and I think Embiid too. That makes a shit ton of money. So they have their starting lineup, and they traded for Richardson. So they have their starting lineup, and then basically nothing on the bench. And then right now their starting lineup is like seriously underperforming. So there's like kind of nowhere to go from here. You just have to kind of hope that starts working, and it doesn't seem like it's going to, as far as getting on a championship level. I mean, usually you don't start judging teams until after the All-Star break, so I try to reserve that, but it's not looking great in my opinion. Like you said, it just doesn't seem to work, dude. And they didn't make any big moves because the contracts aren't very movable because they paid all those guys. Like,
Yeah, it's just weird. Like the Sixers, they're going to need to trade some guys this offseason. Whether that's Embiid, whether that's Simmons, whether that's Harris, they need to make some moves.
it seems
I don't,
holding out to see like if the second half of the season can make it, they can mesh and get better, make a run in the playoffs. But if that doesn't happen, I think there's no question Simmons is going somewhere, either Simmons or Embiid. But I think Simmons, probably Simmons and Harris if they could.
yeah, Embiid has just really played bad this year.
I agree, but I just have a feeling they prefer Embiid.
I would keep Embiid because I love Embiid, but I guess his injuries or something. He just doesn't look right. There's something going on. I don't know. The Sixers, I would not want to be a Sixers fan right now because you guys have a ton of problems right now. Tons.
The thing is, this is supposed to be like their ceiling. This is what they tanked for. Like, but now suddenly it seems like their two biggest stars are like problems that are presented to the team rather than the two guys that they tanked for so that they could win. Like,
Yeah.
which is the problem. This was supposed to be like the final move. Like going into the season, Sixers fans were like, "Oh, we're the best team in the East." Like,
Yeah.
that's expectations.
It's tough. So I guess we got to talk about Marcus Morris to the Clippers. That's a huge
I
pickup.
prefer the Clippers to win the championship. I think last episode that only increases that.
Yeah,
So,
they
I don't have much to say.
they play the Clippers play the best basketball I've seen in the league this year. As far as ball movement, they're definitely, I don't know the stats, but I'm gonna tell you right now, watching Clippers games, they are head and shoulders above every other team defensively. They are the best defensive team in the NBA, in my opinion. You add Morris, who is the definition of a 3-and-D guy. A guy who's shooting 44% from three on 6 attempts a game, averaging 20 a game. Partially the closer for the Celtics last year. He closed a lot of games for us. He had some huge performances last year. He won some games for us last year. To add that to the mix of Beverly, Lou Williams, I'm just talking about the second unit. Beverly, Williams, Harrell, Landry Shamet, who I love. The Clippers are, I think now, there was a debate between Clippers and Lakers. I think that this Marcus Morris deal puts the Clippers over the top. And I think this was the move to seal the Clippers their title this year. So, super high on this move. Great move. Jerry West does it again. What can I say?
I'm with you there, dude. Clippers championship.
Clippers championship. They're just so good all across the board. All right, well, let's see. Oh, I'll let you take the floor for this one. We got to talk about the Heat's moves. What are your thoughts on them?
So, the Heat acquired Iguodala, Crowder, right? Jay Crowder.
Yep.
And Solomon Hill. We gave up Justice Winslow, James Johnson, and Dion Waiters. We couldn't acquire Danilo Gallinari, which would have been so awesome. It's so disappointing that we were so close to acquiring him, and just some extension talks ended up having that fall through. That would have been a great pickup. But honestly, I feel great. People are kind of like skeptical about why they're paying Iggy $15 million, but the second year is a team option. This year, he's just going to pick up his money. He'll probably play for us next year, and then we'll make a push at Giannis. I mean, and we can get him off the books if we need to. I think Iggy provides really good depth that we were missing at the like wing defender spot, and he also just provides experience. It kind of sends a message to the team like that we're looking to make a run this year. That kind of just changes the mentality. Like, we made this move we're not waiting. We're ready to compete now. So I like the move from Pat Riley, and it's not like it was an egregious rob or win in the trade. Like we gave up a good bit for what fit our team better, and Minnesota or fucking Memphis got some decent players back. They'll probably buy out Dion Waiters. I think the Heat are still in play to pick up another guy. Probably use Solomon Hill's roster spot to buy him out and pick up someone else. But Solomon Hill's been playing decent this year, so they could keep him too. I don't know. And I like Jay Crowder, dude. He was on the Celtics for a bit. I don't know what you have to say about him. I'm a fan of like what he brings to the Heat culture. 3-and-D guy. Maybe shoots a little too much, but we kind of need some shots on our second unit, especially since we lost some good depth.
Yeah, I think that the Heat moves. I like the moves. I think that they help them. I don't think that this is like a game changer.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
But I do like the moves. I think Iggy's impact on the Heat is going to be way overrated, to be honest. But I do like the experience he'll provide. He's probably one of the better locker room leadership guys off the bench in the league. Like I think he would be welcome on just about any team in the league. Just what he provides, with leadership and I mean he's a clutch player. I mean he can knock down some big shots. I mean we've seen that over the past years with the Warriors. So I like that move. Jay Crowder's another guy. He's a 3-and-D. He's the definition of a 3-and-D guy. He's a dog, plays hard. I can see what you mean by he shoots it a little too much. Sometimes he he thinks he's got a heat check going. He'll check.
It's like me and Rec Ball, dude.
Yeah, he'll kind of jack one up. But I like the moves. I think that this was I love that they are finally cutting ties with their roster they had for 5 years. You know what I mean? With Waiters and James Johnson and Justice Winslow.
The Miami Heat.
Dude, it was so frustrating watching the Heat for 5 years with D. Wade, James Johnson, Dion Waiters, Hassan Whiteside, Winslow, and Dragic. Like that was the worst thing.
I could go on and on about like why that happened, why Tyler Johnson got a contract, why James Johnson and Dion Waiters got extensions. Like there was definitely reasoning for it. I think it's paid off in the long term, but in the short term it fucking sucked, dude. But in the end, the Heat had a reputation that they didn't reward their players. When D. Wade left and they had like disputes with Chris Bosh, they got a bad reputation. Like these guys brought you a title and you didn't treat them well. So they rewarded the core of the team that made honestly, the Tyler Johnson extension was in direct reaction to Dwayne Wade leaving the Heat. It happened literally right after. And it fucked us over for a few years. And like you said, I'm glad that we can move out of that like kind of poverty point that we were in. And still some of those guys are like Dragic is the main contributor on our second unit. So he's still a pretty useful player. Other than that, yeah, I agree with what you said. I don't think it like pushes the Heat to have any better odds of winning any more than they were going to, but and yeah, I like the moves.
Yeah, I like the moves. Not game-changing moves, but good moves. So I'm thinking, as far as looking at the Eastern Conference as a whole now, clearly Bucks number 1, right? Clearly. Yeah. My opinion, it's Celtics 2, Raptors 3, Heat 4. I think that the 2, 3, and 4 are they could vary here in the next few months heading into the playoffs. And then I think you got 76ers at 5, but I think the Heat have solidified themselves because it was kind of like, oh, is this going to be some streaky team that kind of falls off coming toward the playoffs?
And it still wouldn't surprise me if that happened, to be honest. Like it wouldn't be the most surprising thing if they tapered off, but I also think they have room to maybe play a little bit better than they did to close out recently, the past like month and a half, the Heat haven't been as good as they were to start the year. I think they could like get back to where they were, but I also think they could regress. I think they'll finish ahead of the Raptors, probably at that 3 spot behind the Celtics.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. the Raptors are it's just one of those things where you're coming off the championship and you're just your team so well. They've had the same roster for a few years. They know their guys. They're well coached. I mean, it's just that's why they're doing so well right now. But for playoff basketball, I still favor the Raptors over the Heat, but not by a wide margin. And I think that the Celtics, I just think talent-wise, you have to put the Celtics at number 2 just because they're more talented than the Raptors and the Heat. But the Heat, I think you were right. I think it's possible we could still see a fall off, but I don't think so. Like I think that they're right now, there's no question they're better than the 76ers.
Dude, the Raptors may never lose again. Dude, their record recently is insane.
That's true. The Raptors might not lose a game ever again. That's true.
But I will say one of their last 3 losses was to the
Heat. That's true. Yeah, the Heat. I mean, what can you do? I mean, it just the 3 balls just start raining and nothing you can do. It's like the Splash Bros.
The Heat are better than the Sixers. I don't think that's saying too much. I just think the Heat are deeper. Like when the second unit goes in, I don't know. And I mean, Bam is pretty good at guarding Embiid, or he has been. And then this last game that they played, Embiid had a really good game, and the Heat still won. So that was encouraging too. I think we'd beat him in a 7-game series.
I do too, to be honest. You guys are just a better team. I think you're better coached. The fact that Brett Brown is still the coach of the 76ers is mind-boggling.
Yeah. That's honestly insane to me too, dude. He's horrible.
Like, he's not the worst coach ever, but he's definitely not the best. You know? Like, he's coaching the 76ers that have tons of talent. You're not coaching the Hornets right now, buddy, you know?
Like and the Sixers, like, their record is okay, but you can't credit that. You just credit that to the immense amount of talent they have so they can beat teams like the Wizards, and actually, let's see who they played tonight. They can beat the Bulls, pretty easily just based on how much talent they have. But there's got to be some unemployed coach that watches the Sixers and is like, "Wow, I actually have a plan for these guys. I know how we could do well."
Hey, Jeff Van Gundy.
Dude, is it weird that I was also thinking Van Gundy?
But my number 1 would be would be Mark Jackson for sure. The fact that Mark Jackson doesn't have a head coaching job is insane. Mark Jackson is a really, really good basketball coach, and he knows how to coach good players.
He's a great commentator.
He's a good commentator. He's not the best. He's good.
He's not great.
He's good though.
What was he said about LeBron's wife or whatever? He said, like, I'd hit it out the park, all due respect.
Dang, Mark, I missed that one.
You didn't hear him say that, dude? Look it up. Mark Jackson.
It's not like Bron's asked to do anything about it. I feel like I could take Bron in a fight, to be honest. I think Bron would choke, dude. If I fought Bron, he would choke. The pressure would be too immense for him to just destroy this like non-athletic white dude, and I would just dominate him in a fight, to be honest.
What if Kyrie was there, dude?
If Kyrie was there, well, on my side, or
he's not fighting, he's just there. Like he's in. LeBron has succeeded in the past with Kyrie there. So does that give him any advantage or?
No, I feel like Kyrie's talking would even make it worse. Like knowing, oh God, I'm about to get beat up in front of my ex-teammate who thinks I'm ass. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll move on from that. But hey, I think it's a possibility. So let's see. Any other? I think that's about it with trades. I mean, we don't really need to touch on Capella to the Hawks, but
the Hawks still suck. Yeah.
Rockets, interesting move. But we can talk about the Rockets for a second. What do you think about the Rockets not having any guy on the roster taller, or at least they do now because they signed Bruno Cabaglo or whatever his name is from, I believe, Memphis, who's a 7-footer. He's not very good, but he's a 7-footer, so at least they have a 7-footer on the roster. But what do you think about the Rockets playing the Lakers the other day? Not a player taller than 6'7" played, and they beat the Lakers.
Yeah, PJ Tucker playing center, dude.
What do you think about that?
I don't know, dude. I'm not huge on the Rockets, but we're also not a Russell Westbrook podcast. And can Westbrook just not shoot anymore, like, at all?
Westbrook cannot shoot anymore.
With that, like, because he wasn't this bad. Like at some point, he could actually make a three. At this point, I swear he just can't. Like he just can't shoot. It's one of the weirder things I've ever seen.
It's bad for sure. But I originally, when it first happened, I was talking to, once again, shout out to J. Lou. I was talking to J. Lou about it right when it initially happened, and I was right about what I was saying, and it turned out I was right about it. So the Rockets they're a big analytical team. They're all about analytics, and I guess the way they see it is you have a guy in Russell Westbrook who's bringing in 10 rebounds. You have a James Harden who's bringing in close to 10 rebounds. You have a PJ Tucker who's bringing in 7 or 8 rebounds. So I guess analytically, I guess you could say it makes sense in a way, but for me, even though it's a new style of basketball, you have Anthony Davis against you. You know, you have JaVale McGee down low. Even though they beat the Lakers, when it comes playoff time, that size advantage, it's going to hurt the Rockets. I don't care what the analytics say. That's going to be a major problem, like major problem, especially when they're playing just not even them, just bigger teams. I mean, the Clippers are a bigger team.
Are you saying that they don't have anyone like on their roster except that Bruno guy that's over 6'7"?
Yeah, so Bruno Caboclo, they trade like a second-round pick or something a few days ago. So he's a 7-footer. He's not good, but he's a 7-footer. But nobody else on their roster is above 6'7".
Dude, no, and they're just gonna go into the playoffs like that?
Yeah, I guess at this point.
That's really weird. I mean,
it's
analytical. I don't know, dude. Like, what if you just get a bad matchup? Like, what if you go against like the I don't know, the Jazz? The Jazz? I don't know. I mean,
really anybody. If you think Clippers, the Jazz, the Lakers, they're all big teams. So I don't know. I don't love it. I mean, if analytically it might make sense, but I don't care. It's just I don't think it's going to work. I mean, maybe offensively, but what if you have a bad offensive night? You ain't winning that game. You got to be hot every game.
The Nuggets have Jokic, dude. I guess PJ Tucker would guard Jokic. So I don't really know, dude. Even the Timberwolves, if they can, I mean, they've lost so much already this year that they aren't really a threat to do much. But you know, well, I guess we could close NBA talk out with how do you think that bottom of the Western Conference is gonna work out, dude? There's a pretty crazy race in that like 6 to 10 range, 6 to 11, actually 6 to 12.
Let's see.
Not really. It's more like 9 to 13 is all like pretty close records.
I think you'll see the Grizzlies probably fall out. I think that
no, dude. It's the Grizzlies, the Blazers, the Spurs, the Pelicans, the Kings, and the Suns are all within like a few games of each other.
That's true. I think that it's hard to say if the Trailblazers are a weird story this year. Some people thought they could have been. I didn't say this. Some people thought they could have been second seed in the West.
Yeah, I know Hassan Whiteside sucks, so I knew that wasn't going to happen. But I do love Lillard.
The Spurs have no chance.
They lost for a decent amount of time too.
Yeah, so I just think with the talent, the Trailblazers are going to find a way to squeak into that 8th seed, and the Grizzlies, they just have so many young guys. There's going to be some stretch where they, lose 5 in a row, and then maybe the Trailblazers win 5 in a row, and you see them squeak in there. The Spurs have no chance. They are one of the worst defensive teams in the league. They have no chance. They don't have, to me, consistent enough 3-point shooting to get in there. And they're older, to be honest. I mean, they have some young guys, but I don't know. I don't think they have enough. I just don't think the Spurs, defensively, they are like so bad. So bad.
I agree, though. I think the only turnover will be Blazers moving to the 8th seed. I think the Mavericks and the Thunder will be good enough that they can maintain their spots. Maybe the Mavs go up to 6, the Thunder go down to 8, and the Blazers move up to 7. Just because, I don't know. I'm not really high on the Thunder. But I don't know if they're 32-21, so the Gallinari Adams Chris Paul thing seems to be going okay. And Shy, dude. Shy is a really good player.
Yeah, Shy's looking good for sure. It's just the Thunder. I like. I mean, it's just they have a lot of good players. You know what I mean? It's not like they have one or two great players. They just have a lot of good players. So
that's true.
I mean, the Thunder. They'll definitely be in the playoffs. Mavericks, just with talent, they'll definitely be in the playoffs. It's just like we were saying, that 8 through 10 is where you're going to see some movement. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm not a big Western Conference guy, so I'll probably won't even be watching, to be honest.
Me neither, dude.
So last thing.
You can't really see their games, dude. Too late.
We're going back to the NFL for a second. Last thing to close out. Report today for Michael Irvin. Former Cowboys receiver, Hall of Famer.
Former national champion.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. That was a dirty team when he was on there. So the Cowboys are considering, the higher-ups, trading Dak and signing Brady. Report from Michael Irvin. What do you think about that?
I don't think Brady would necessarily go there.
But,
and I don't know. I don't know how they'd trade Dak, because whoever traded for him would have to pay him. They would be like committing to that. And I don't know how much he would even be worth, because he's not on a contract. So like the Cowboys don't have much leverage either. I don't know. What do you think about that? I don't think that'll happen, but
I'm with you that I don't think that Brady would do it. But this is where I think that you could see a Titans come into play, because I think that the Titans, if they could get their hands on Dak, would absolutely pull the trigger. Even though Dak has his criticisms, I don't think there's any argument he's better than Ryan Tannehill. Dak Prescott's a top 12 quarterback.
What about the Chargers, dude?
I guess. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it.
Or the Raiders. The Raiders have extra picks this year.
Raiders, I don't know. Dak, I mean, all those are possibilities. I feel like Dak's more of a guy that, I don't know. He's not that he's old, but I just feel like you would want, if you're a Chargers or Raiders, like I feel like it's either Brady or nobody. You know what I mean? Like I feel like those teams would rather have like a young guy. The Raiders
ready, dude. They're not.
Yeah, but I think the Raiders would be more inclined than the Chargers, because John Gruden is he wants his guy. He's always going to want his guy. So
and Carr just doesn't seem to be his guy, dude.
He's okay though. I like Carr, but
I think Carr's fine. Yeah. You think
he wants a flash guy?
Would be in on that action, dude, for Dak?
That would be weird to me, because I think the Panthers are going to be. I think the Panthers are going to be the worst team in the league this year.
I think they'll be one of the worst. Yeah.
I don't see them getting more than I think a 7-9 year would be ideal. Like if they do that, I think that's a big success. Huge success. I could see them losing easily. I would say my prediction's probably, I'm going to say 5-11 for the Panthers, and that's pushing it. I think that 4-12 is more accurate, probably. I just don't think that Panthers are not going to be good, straight up. They don't have any talent. I mean, their defensive line is basically pummeled. I mean, that was their problem last year. Their offensive line's okay. It's okay, but they don't have a quarterback at all. That's a huge problem. Huge. Their defense isn't great. You lose one of the best linebackers in the league, Kuechly. Report Cam Newton's going to be traded when he's healthy in April. So, I mean, I don't think that they're going to be good at all. Like, I don't think that could be argued either. Like, I'd be shocked if somebody's going to come out and say Panthers are going to be a great team next year. So I think a move for Dak would make no sense. That's just me. But so last thing I want to talk about. Report Haskins clear-cut starter among Redskins coaches right now. What do you think about that?
I mean, as predicted, in my opinion.
I'm with you on that, but of course Ron Rivera came out and said there's going to be a like competition, and some analysts who don't know what they're talking about think that Haskins still sucks, which he does not suck. If you'd watched the last 4 or 5 games, Haskins played good football. So it doesn't surprise me, but some analysts are surprised by the news. So I didn't know if you'd be surprised by that or not, but it sounds like you're not.
I feel like that's what you got to say if you're Ron Rivera, dude, because Haskins, like, these millennial quarterbacks, dude, these young kids, you tell them they're going to start, they're not going to do the work, dude. Nah, but I mean, you actually do have to, like, give the young quarterback a bit of incentive. You can't just, like, hand him the job. I think you got to make him earn it, especially since they have 2 pretty quality backups, and they're old, so they're going to want a chance to start. Is Keenum there again next year?
Keenum is a free agent, so probably won't bring him back.
Yeah, so it'll probably be McCoy and Haskins then? I mean, because
Alex Smith, I think he's still in the books next year.
Is he playing though?
I don't think he's going to play. I think that they're talking about letting him kind of be this like leadership guy, which is weird. Like I like it, but I don't know if people understand. Alex Smith is supposed to earn $20 million next year.
I was gonna say like that kind of handicaps your ability to like do other things like like having $20 million on the books. I know Haskins is a rookie contract, but that's equivalent of like you have Haskins on a rookie contract, so you sign a defensive stud to Alex Smith's contract. Except Alex Smith is not doing anything. So, like you said, kind of tough, dude.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, well, I guess that seems like I think this was another good episode, quality episode today.
Yeah, some good discussion, good stuff to talk about. Getting into a dark time with no NFL football, but and the NBA is still not like real heated up. But just got the trade deadline done, ready to see what happens with that, and also if the XFL can do its thing.
True. Yeah. Well, so I'm guessing. The good thing about next episode is we're going to be able to talk about All-Star Weekend.
So that's is that this upcoming weekend or what?
I am 75% sure.
Dude, that was in Charlotte last year, dude. That was a big
is it in Chicago? Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah.
That is, let's see when All-Star Weekend is.
We'll have a dunk contest champion, a 3-point champion, and an All-Star MVP to talk about.
Yeah, plus obviously some XFL talk, and I'm sure there's some news that will come out
with the NFL, some draft rumors, some.
Yes.
I think it's not till sometime in March that they can start like making trades and signing people and shit. But we can make it till then for sure.
Yeah, no, we'll have some stuff to talk about, but for all the GasCast listeners out there, we're going to try to be consistent with every Sunday uploading a new GasCast. You can follow our Twitter page for all updates about when we're going to upload and stuff. We're going to start being more consistent on that. Usually on our Twitter, we kind of just post our videos, but hopefully we can start, giving you guys hints and stuff and tell you when we're going to upload some new videos. So, but yeah, the GasCast, it's only going to get stronger. Also, announcement this week for Sunday, I'm shooting for. Don't count on this. But in the next day or two, I am officially getting a webcam. That is happening this week for sure, 100%. So I'm shooting for this next Sunday's episode to feature both of our webcams with a display. So I'm going to be working on that. So that could be huge for the GasCast. If I can pull that off.
YouTube is the GasCast. Twitter is at TGasCast.
Yep. So I'll link that in the description of the video so you guys can check that out. But any other points you want to add, Ricky, before we close it out?
Nope, just that our last episode 16, got 60 views, which is pretty crazy, dude. Most viewed episode by far from us. So go check that out if you haven't.
Well, our first episode was, obviously any first episode of any series is going to have the most views. I think we had like 130 on that one.
Dude, no way. Are you serious?
yeah, I don't know. I guess you didn't know that.
Dude, hold up, let me look.
our first
Yeah, our first one got
GasCast.
how did they get 130 views, dude? That's crazy.
I don't know, but hey, our subscriber count it just keeps going up. We're up to 35 now. I think we had 32 last week. So this is
Yeah. I guess people just wanted to check it out, dude. Like the first time, like people we know. And they,
yeah, exactly. So we're on the way up, dude. Our views are going up, our subscribers are going up, and the GasCast content is going up. So you get on the train now. I mean, we're taking off. What can you do? Nothing you can do to stop us.
yeah, dude. The
So
Snapchat was the move. Remember?
that's the move. I'm definitely doing that again this time. But long episode today, hour and 30.
Well, I think we were talking for like 15 minutes probably before we
Oh,
started.
okay. Hour and 15. Still long episode.
Yeah, long episode.
But anyway, as always, everybody, hopefully new episode next week, next Sunday. But as always, remember, keep gassing.